What's your take on what they've done, Brian?
I just one question that I'd like to know is if the shoe was on the other foot, if that was our superpower, would we be complaining about it? I can't imagine we would. You play to your strengths in this game. It doesn't matter how many you can put. Obviously, you have to have a certain amount of front row forwards on the bench, but after that, it's at your discretion. And they've been innovators in the past with what they've done. I've talked about Ireland's innovation on that 22 dropout. I think you encourage that in our game. The last thing you want is same old, same old. And it is a risk. It's a calculated risk because it's a free shot this time round. They've all but qualified for the knockout stages. Like we said before, they don't know who better to get, France or New Zealand. So it's another opportunity to put down this marker, this creation of the bomb squad. The fact that they did it once in a warm-up game, because of the Villy Leroux injury, and it was it happened through accident rather than possibly considered in advance, and then it worked out for them. So it's a risk because you just don't know what's going to come in any test match with an outside back picking up an early injury.
It's also something that I kind of find, Brian, that keeps things a little bit interesting on game week because they name so early. Last week, all the talk was about, there's 4 players who in theory are scrum halves who are part of the squad this week. This time it's about the overload of forwards. They keep you guessing.
I have no problem with it. I actually don't understand the fallout over it. And listen, everyone is entitled to their opinion on it, and I will listen to what others are saying. And I've heard Matt Williams talk about it and Keith Wood talking about it, but I disagree with them. I think that it's an interesting component to the game. Yes, there's a nervousness around the ferociousness of the game, and that's not going away. But is it fair to limit a team's strengths by demanding that they have X amount of cover in certain positions versus others? I don't think that's World Rugby's call to make. I think that's a decision where you've got Reinach, who can play on the wing, who can play at scrum half. You've got Quagga Smith, who comes from the 7 circuit, can play across the back row, could probably play pretty comfortably in most backline positions if push came to shove. So I think you'd be surprised they'll actually have a bit more athletic cover in positions than the 7-1 might suggest. But more power to them. Good luck, and let's see how the chips fall. See how it unfolds as the game goes on, whether it's very attritional early on, whether someone does pick up an injury, and then we'll be talking about it in a completely different context if it backfires on them. So I think it's good. If anything, I think these sort of things are good for the game because they're talking points, they're changing things up. The last thing you want is to be sterile and the same. And I think definitely if we were one of the more physical, abrasive, large teams, we would definitely not be shooting ourselves in the foot saying, I don't know if this is right, if this is immoral. We would be playing to our strengths, and so they should be.